tonight is the demo night. My idea is to demo little bits of neurolanguage coaching, but I also have an idea to take all of you through a very interesting journey of neuro-heart educational coaching. And that might be a little bit of a surprise at the end with all of you, because I think all of you probably don't know the topic that I'm going to go into, and we'll probably get a few of you coming in. So what is the essence of everything that we do as neuro-heart educators or neurolanguage coaches? Well, we bring in professional coaching and we bring in the principles from the neuroscience, the neuropsychology, the emotional intelligence. That's what we're bringing in and integrating into everything that we do. And today I was working with a group of professional neurolanguage coaches. And it really is about walking the talk. It's not about just saying, I'm a coach. It's about living it. It's about being it. It's about walking, talking, breathing as a coach. And I think the question for all of us, and even for any of us who are and have been on this coaching journey for many, many years, I would say that coaching is an evolution. It's a self-progression. And no matter where you are on the coaching journey, it's always about reflecting, where am I? What could I do better? How could I get more effective sessions? How could I help my coachee more? How could I be more of service? And that is a constant, whether you're a baby coach or whether you're a veteran coach. It never stops. It really never stops. So let's just go into this question, what is coaching? And I know that many of you know this already, so I'm not going to dwell here very long. There are different types of coaching. Nowadays, coaching is the trend, neuro is the trend. So neuro-language coaching, we're hitting the jackpot here because we've got the neuro and the coaching and the neuro-heart educational coaching as well. What is coaching? Well, it's not just about telling somebody what to do. In fact, when you come into the professional coaching skills, it's quite the opposite. It's about getting somebody to reach insights, solutions, pathways in their life, but reaching them by themselves, not because I've led them there or I've given them the information or I've given advice. No, it's about being the soundboard, the mirror, the facilitator. I always say it's about being the provocateur par excellence. So we're stimulating somebody to find their own goals, find their own path, find their own solutions. That's the essence of the professional coach. Now, there may be times when you're sharing your expertise, sharing what has been an experience for you, but always with, I would say, with permission. So we're not directive coaches at all. The challenge for us is how do we bring this into, and we've got a wild microphone there. So just once again, asking all of you to keep your microphones under control. The challenge for all of us is how do we bring coaching into teaching? Because firstly, as a teacher, we're normally directive, telling you what to do. And secondly, we're also sharing expertise. We're sharing knowledge. How do we do that? Can we do that? And this is the dichotomy of coaching and teaching. And yes, as a neurolanguage coach, we're doing it. So we are creating structure, framework, personalized pathways, but we're introducing it with the coaching approach, the coaching style. And we are not directive. We're not telling people what to do. And if we want to share information, we're going to ask permission first. And we're going to do it in such a gentle way that we're creating a very calm brain space. Everything that we do is for a reason. There's nothing that we do that is random. It's not therapy, it's not psychotherapy, it's not counseling, it's not giving advice. So, we are in fact accredited by the International Coach Federation. This is one of the most recognized bodies worldwide, which lays out the standards, the guidelines, the ethics for professional coaching. Now, I just want to say that the ICF does not have anything to do with language. It is purely a coaching-focused, non-profit organization. They are purely interested in competences and skills of professional coaches. Now, you could be a health coach, a team coach, an executive coach, a business coach, a language coach. You could be any coach that you want to be. What they are focused on is whether you are trained with coaching competences that the ICF sets out as the key skills for the coach. And can anybody call themselves a coach? Well, yes, absolutely. It's not regulated. Anybody can call themselves a coach. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go out there and call yourself a team coach, a professional coach, a business coach, an executive coach, you can. However, in the market, we're now seeing how many clients recognize coaches that have a qualification. And can I also share with you that in many countries, for example, Germany, coaching is actually a 5-year career. And when I started 20 years ago talking about the ICF and talking about being a coach, a lot of my Germans would say to me, how do you do that in 6 months or a year? It's normally a 5-year career. But that type of coach, they do go into psychology and they take it from a very different perspective. So a university coach is very different to, let's say, an ICF orientated or trained coach. So there are different types of qualified coaches out there in the market too. Now, we said that the ICF is probably the major institution in the world, but you have others as well. In particular, the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, for those of us who are in Europe. You've got the International Association of Coaching, the Authority for Professional Coaching and Mentoring. So there are others who are also recognized as training organizations. And just to refresh some of the coaching competences, well, the ICF coaching competences are, as you see them on the screen. Now, everything we do in neurolanguage coaching is integrating these in everything that we do. How do we do it? Well, a lot of the time we are pumping in on the key skills, especially the coaching mindset, especially the trust, intimacy, safe environment, especially the active listening, powerful questions, signposting, reformulating, giving feedback, and above all, that coaching presence, really being in the moment. And as I said before, this is the dichotomy. How can we bring coaching into education? Many of you know that I'm passionate about changing education, but I know that you are too. We all are. We all know that something's wrong with the educational, let's say, institutions, systems worldwide. For me, it's about us transforming first. And the more of us that transform, the more that all of you are going to be transforming your systems. And by the way, we do have quite a lot of neurolanguage coaches working in public schools who are raising heads. So little by little, it is about us first, and then what's around us will change, hopefully with us. So how can the neuroscience transform the teachers? Well, metacognition for me is the key. And I know I've said this in the past webinars, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but there are 3 perspectives of metacognition. First perspective is how to become autonomous as a learner, how to self-regulate, metacognition with that self-observation, awareness, and how we as educators can bring that awareness to them, to the learners. Secondly, how can we enhance our cognitive skills? How can we enhance the way we're learning, the way we're memorizing? How can we understand more and more about how each and every one of us function? How can I, as an educator, share with you what's happening? In very simple terms, if I'm with children, if I'm with teenagers, if I'm with adults, I need to adjust my explanations, my conversations. And thirdly, metacognition is about learning how to learn. Every single one of us may have a different way of learning. How can we put 30 kids into one box and say, this is how you do it? So we're coming into an era now where we as the educators have to adapt and change to adjust to the learners. And that might mean that we have to break them down into separate groups, smaller groups. It might mean that we have to create different ways of doing it. But that's exactly what we need to be thinking about in the new way. Alicia, yes, I see that you've got your hand up. Would you like to jump on? Alicia? So just checking in. I see that there's a hand up there. By the way, everybody, this is your evening because we are going into demo. So if you do have a question, you are welcome to ask it. And the third time, Alicia, don't know if you can hear me. If you want to jump on with a question, please do. Okay, we'll come back to Alicia in a bit. Can I just check? Can you turn on your mics, everybody? Do you have that facility? Yes, you do. Yes. Yes. Betsy, thank you. Yes. I can see that you have. Thank you for that. Okay, Alicia can't hear me. Okay, then we'll see. Right, I see that you're already asking about the certificate and we haven't even got going. May I say that at the end of the webinar, we will give you the link to get the certificate. Okay, so if that's the only reason you're here, unfortunately, you're going to have to sit with us for an hour and a half to get to that point. If you're here for anything else, that's great. Let's move on. So, language learning in the 21st century. How can we become holistic educators? Well, what we're trying to do is to be the bridge from the science to the classroom. Bringing that information to our learners, even the young ones. Explaining, conversing, communicating, that Socratic discourse, bringing it back. And reconciling the dichotomy, teaching and coaching. In that way, we're bringing in the coaching, the neuroscience, the neuropsychology, but we're also bringing in that spontaneity, which is sitting in that moment with the learner or learners. And being very sensitive with everything that we're doing. Now, that's the introduction. I'm not going to go any deeper. If any of you need any more information, with pleasure, we can send you some more info if it's your first time with us this evening. I think many of you are not here for the first time, so great that you're back after we've done these series of webinars. Now, at this point, I'd like to move into some demos. And first demo that I'd like to do is a quick demonstration of how we would go into the first session with a client. Now, I'm actually going to just do a shortened version of this. And the shortened version of this is going into how we would get the client to set their goals. So we're going to go into the goal setting part only. After that, I'd like to maybe demo some emotional trigger conversations. If any of you might have a bad learning memory or something from the past that you'd just like to share with us, and we'll see if we can maneuver it in some way. Or maybe some of you are trying to learn a language and you want to understand how to learn better. And we could go into a brainstorm coaching conversation of learning how to learn. And at some point as well, if we get that sort of, let's see how long we're rolling tonight, but we could also go into maybe somebody who is learning Spanish and you're a beginner Spanish and you want to try a little bit of how it would be with me to learn a little bit of Spanish. We can see. And finally, I might take you on that surprise journey with Neurolanguage Education. So, Betsy, you're asking, how long should the first session be? Well, normally on average, first session is between 40 and 50 minutes when we do the whole thing. So as a neurolanguage coach, we have a key first session. I call it a hallmark first session. And I'm just going to be demonstrating a snapshot of this evening. So who would like to be my coachee? Maybe somebody who wants to learn English. Betsy, fantastic, thank you. So Betsy, let's just set the scene a minute. Mm-hmm. Where are you from, Betsy?
I'm from Venezuela, but living in Chile.
Right, okay. So obviously you've got English and Spanish.
Yes.
And any other languages that you've got?
I've learned a little bit of French so long ago, and Italian also.
Right, okay. So how would you like us to do this? Would you like us to do this focusing on increasing your English? Or should we take it into a little bit of that sort of French or Italian?
Yes, I think that, because it's like I work mostly with beginners, so I don't know how is this like for beginners. So I think French, don't remember anything. Italian, a little bit more.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, which would you like to choose, French or Italian?
Let's do Italian.
Italian, fantastic. So actually, you know, I'm going to, if I may, do just that little bit extra than I had planned, relating to firstly tapping into your motivation. So welcome to our session, Betsy.
Thank you.
Normally I would say that everything in our sessions is confidential, but you just want to let you know that 730 people might be listening to this one, so it might not be so confidential this evening.
No problem.
Right. And just want to ask you as well, what do you know about neurolanguage coaching?
I have been listening to your webinars and talking to other neurolanguage coaches, so I'm really into it. Like I do want to learn more about it and how I can apply it to my practice.
Right. Well, firstly, I want to say thank you that you've been checking in and finding out and that you're interested in it. So just checking in with you, what do you know then about it?
What do I know about it? Okay. Well, I see that it combines the neurolanguage part, the neuro part, like how we learn and that part, that it's really, nice. And then the coaching part, that it's more like helping the other person to get to their goals, and not from a perspective that I'm teaching you and guiding you, but helping you to know how to get there, and I'm supporting you as a coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. So in some ways we always say that in neurolanguage coaching and in coaching as well, you are in the driving seat and we are your GPS. And a little bit, we're there to accompany you if we need to guide you and facilitate, but you are the one. This is about your process, your autonomy, and your goals, and where you want to get with the language.
Nice.
And from the neuro side, I'm hearing as well that you've got that beautiful curiosity about the brain and how we learn. So we'll be talking and sharing a little bit about that as we go along the way.
Great.
And just to let you know that we are certified by Efficient Language Coaching. We're accredited by the International Coach Federation. And as I said, we follow the principles of coaching all the way through. And the major one is confidentiality, but obviously with the recording this evening, it's a slightly different circumstance.
Great.
So when we come into this first session, we actually structure it into what we call the 3 M's: motivation, mechanical, mastery. And I'm going to explain mechanical and mastery in a minute. For the moment, I'd just like to tap into your motivation. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is low and 10 is high, where are you to learn Italian?
I will say 8.
Pretty high. So what are your reasons for wanting to learn Italian?
Well, I have always wanted to live in Italy, and I even signed to study there, but never went. So it's something that I'm like all the time, like giving thoughts, and that's why I would like to get ready so I can move someday.
Right. Before I continue, can I just check in with you? May I take notes as we go?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. I'm hearing this is almost like a life dream to move to Italy.
Yeah.
And even that there was a moment where you were going to go, but you weren't able to. So, but you literally have said to me, it's almost like you want to get ready to just go.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. To be ready, like when the time comes, I go. I just need to buy a ticket and go.
Right. Okay. Just imagine you've got perfect Italian. How's that going to change your life when you think about going over there?
Completely, totally change, because I'm going to be able to live, like truly live there, and not needing other languages or other people to help me, so I can like just experience the full experience.
Right. So I'm hearing you would have your independence, you'd just be able to get on with life, you'd just be able to integrate. Fantastic. Can we use this as your chief motivation, Betsy?
Yes, of course.
Can we hold that vision, and can I keep reminding you through our sessions and keep connecting you back into it over the weeks that we're going to be working together?
Yes.
Fantastic. Right, now moving on. We've got the motivation. Now we're coming into what we call the mechanical goal setting. And in neurolanguage coaching, we separate language into 2 different parts. We separate it into mechanical. We've got some wild microphones tonight. We separate it into mechanical, which is everything to do with the grammar, the structure, and the pronunciation, what I call the nuts and bolts and how the language comes together. And afterwards, we're going to focus on mastery, which is about how you want to use the language.
Okay.
So, coming into the mechanical first, may I just check in with you? How do you feel about grammar?
So.
In general?
Well, I like grammar. I have learned other languages, so I don't feel like about that. It's just something that you need to do to be able to learn the language. So great, right. No problem with that.
Okay, and if I can share with you, actually, when we go into grammar conversations, we do it in a very relaxed, interactive way. So hopefully you'll come into grammar in a way that you've never done before. And later when we get going and we're working together, then you can feel that difference of how we do it. Now, you mentioned to me that you are a beginner.
Yes, so I studied before, but then I dropped it. So I don't know like where I am really, but not beginner, just something in the middle.
Okay, how would you feel if we go into a little bit of a conversation in Italian?
We can do that, yeah.
And see just what's coming out. No pressure. I'm not going to correct you. I'm not going to, literally just to come into a very relaxed space and just see what happens.
Great.
Afterwards, we'll go into a little bit of feedback just to see how you felt with it, what you noticed, if anything, and I'll also give you some feedback, and then we'll go into the goal setting.
Great.
Super. So, Betsy, adesso parliamo italiano.
Bene.
Prima vorrei chiederti un po' se puoi raccontare un po' di te.
Bene, e io sono Betsy, io sono da Venezuela, io abito a Santiago di Cile e voglio parlare italiano.
Stai parlando italiano? Sì. Allora, sei venezuelana, ma abiti a Cile. Da quando sei a Cile?
2014 e io sono qui.
Allora sono quasi 6 anni.
E 8 anni.
8 anni. Non posso calcolare bene. Sì. Allora, cosa fai nella vita?
Io sono professoressa di spagnolo. Io lavoro da casa online.
Sì.
Io sono architetta anche, ma io I forgot how to say that. Imparare no. Teach.
Insegnare?
¿Cómo?
Insegnare.
Insegnare, esatto. Sì. Insegnare spagnolo en 2019. 19, sono contenta con il mio lavoro.
Sì. Allora, prima vorrei dirti, brava, sei architetta.
Sì.
Wow, bravissima. E dopo sei insegnante di inglese.
Spagnolo. E
spagnolo anche, ok. Allora, come ti piace vivere in Cile?
E mi piace, ma allora non è tan buono come prima. È per questo che io voglio preparare per andare in Italia, perché I don't know how to say this. I've always wanted to vivere in Italia o Europa.
Sì. Allora hai il sogno di vivere a Roma o
Ecco.
Venezia o vivere in Europa, in Italia. Quando vorresti venire a Italia?
Se posso, prossimo anno, ma non so se posso per l'economia e le cose.
Sì. Allora ti aspettiamo qua.
Bene.
Right, Betsy, I'm going to stop there.
Yeah.
And firstly, I do want to say to everybody, just as an aside, I don't teach Italian, everybody. I'm doing this to demonstrate to all of you. So if you heard some mistakes from my side, please forgive me. because we're just doing this as a demo. Now, what I do want to know, Betsy, how was that for you?
It was great. Obviously, a little bit of nervous because I know I can recognize what things I just don't remember or never learn. So I know that my competence in English is of course better than Italian. So I need to fill in the blanks. But
yeah,
it was great to. It was good to know that I can understand a lot more than I can. That is normal, of course, that I can speak, but it's great.
Yes. And what about the grammar? What were you sensing or noticing there?
Well, I like when I learn the grammar in like in a practical way. Like I'm not thinking in the rules. Like I know the rule. It's good to know the rules, but when it starts to be so rules, like so many rules, and just focus on the rules, I notice that I don't like that. I just need like some brief general rules, and then just go with it, be exposed, practice, and just do it.
Right. So learning by doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Now, may I share with you a little bit my observations?
Yes, of course. Please.
Well, firstly, when you said to me you were a beginner and you started speaking like that, it was like, wow. Wow. This is not a beginner that I'm dealing with here. So honestly, well done. Secondly, it was interesting as well to observe that your default language was English, not Spanish.
Not Spanish.
That was very interesting to observe as well. So when you didn't know something, you went into English.
I think because I'm in an English environment right now, maybe.
Right,
I don't know.
right. Yes. But this is fascinating how the brain works. Yeah. Now, if I can, what I'd like to do is together with you, identify some of the grammar areas. And together, we're going to sort of build up a little bit of a list of potential goal areas. And then we're going to get you to choose which one you want to start with as your first mechanical goal.
Great. Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't take you very deeply into the past, into the future, and we were a little bit coming into those conversations which are sort of basic grammar. How are you feeling with the verb to be in Italian?
Just remember that I can use it to say my name, like where am I, and that's it.
Right. Right. And I was curious whether you really would like us to go into that to get you as a foundation with the to be, there is, there are, sort of those fundamental parts of the grammar. That could be one thing that we start with.
Mm-hmm.
May I put that on our list? Sort of the fundamentals to be, there is, there are, etc.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Second thing that we could come into is a little bit the word formation.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Word formation. See.
And there we could probably springboard a lot from Spanish and English into Italian. Getting you to really scaffold those endings, which are exactly the same in the three languages, where they're different, in the substantives, in the verbs, in the adjectives. Okay. May I put the word formation down?
Yes, please.
How are you feeling with adjectives?
I think don't remember any of that.
Right. So maybe that could be another thing that we're sort of building up with some basic sort of description words, maybe nationality, you know, how you're feeling, emotions, things like that.
Yeah? Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now at the moment.
Ben hep aynı şey için savaşacağım.
Sitare, we've just muted you because we just had your television blasting us a little bit there. So apologies that I've put you on mute. Betsy, coming back.
Mm-hmm.
we've identified 3 grammar areas. Now, in a normal session, we'd probably identify a few more. But for the moment, just for the demo, I'd like you to really tell me where you would like to start. And I'd like to give a summary. So we've got the to be, there is, there are. We've got the word formation, and we've got the adjectives. Now, you can choose 1 or 2 of those areas.
I think the foundation, like foundation words, so I can get comfortable with that and then move forward from there.
Right. So coming into the to be, there is, there are, getting you really solid with that, and then we go to the next.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe set that as your first grammar goal.
Okay.
Fantastic. How are you feeling with that?
Great. Excited to come back to Italian.
Excellent. So we've got the goal. Now I'd like to move into what we call the actions, the activities.
Okay.
How do you want us to work together with activities to get you into this fundamentals of the language?
What was the question? Can you repeat, please?
So what activities would you like us to do together to get you into this grammar?
Okay, I think first, like having like a general review of the thing, like to remember the main concepts and grammar rules, main ones, and then start practicing in a conversation or real context, to describe things or talk about me or something that I can find useful when going to be in Italy.
Right, fantastic. So what you're saying there is that we're coming into a conversation about the grammar to really go into that step-by-step review, and then applying it to situations, things that are going to be useful. We'll be brainstorming a little bit where and when you would need that type of solid conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, what other activities could you do or we could do together?
I think we can do questions and answers, or go to practice in a mock-up conversation about something, like asking for any questions or information, or talking to a new person, for example, asking for just basic info and delivering my basic info to this person.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm hearing really you'd love us to stay in that conversational mode to get you up and running with this. Fantastic. Right, so we've got our first goal, we've got our first actions. Now we're going to move into the mastery. Mastery is about applying the language. Now, I'd like you to, if you can, I'd like to separate out what is applying the grammar that we're going to be doing to now discovering situations, conversations where you want to be up and running and applying all of the language. So it's slightly different. It's not about practicing the grammar. It's about focusing into those situations and conversations.
Okay. Well, conversations to meet new people or to ask for help. Like if I need to do, probably move into a new country, I need to go some places and ask for information, how to do things, how to settle. And I think those contexts, and to get to know people.
Okay, fantastic. Now what I'm doing again is I'm making a list of the areas. So the first area that has come out very clearly is introductions. You introducing yourself and you finding out about other people.
Yeah.
Second area is troubleshooting questions. How to do things, if you've got a problem, asking for help. That would be the second type of conversations. What else would you need?
Right now, I don't have any other, like, for now, that's okay for me.
Well, just want to see if we can brainstorm anything else, and then you choose which one you want to start with first.
Okay.
So just imagine you're in Italy now, and you've introduced yourself, you've troubleshooted what you need to know. What else would you like to move into talking about?
Well, I think maybe doing all other, like, daily stuff, like going to the grocery store. I don't know any of the things that I need to buy, for example, or services that I may need.
Yeah.
Asking for directions, maybe.
Right. Okay. So may I put down then number 3 is this sort of buying process, wherever that may be. And number 4 is asking for information, directions, etc. Excellent. So we've identified 4 types of conversations. We've got number 1, introducing you and other people. Number 2 is troubleshooting questions, asking for that sort of help. Number 3 is being able to buy wherever you need to. And number 4 is asking information and directions. Which one would you like to go for first?
I think troubleshooting things.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, can I just say that I've made a note of everything, the grammar areas, these areas, and once you've got these first goals, we're going to come back for the next. So neurolanguage coaching is about setting goals, working on them, goal review, and then setting the next goals, working on them, goal review, and we're going to be block building you up in the language, little by little, step by step. How does that sound?
Great. I think it's good because we go step by step, like you said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we're missing the actions and activities for this mastery goal, the troubleshooting questions.
Okay, so activities during our time in class or in coaching, or outside activities, or both?
I would say both.
Okay, well, I think I can expose myself to TV or videos around this topic. I also like to listen to radio stations, and having a dictionary to help me look for the keywords that I can use. And during lesson, I think, again, like presenting these keywords that I maybe don't come up for myself. So with your guide, having me know what is this word so I can review them after the session, and maybe some exercise I can do by myself, or any worksheet I can have, something like that.
Fantastic. So Betsy, I want to say amazing ideas. Let me just summarize what you just said there. You mentioned about videos. So how do you feel if we do some video clips in our sessions? And then we're commenting, maybe we've got videos of, people troubleshooting things, and we look at how they do it, and we brainstorm together, and we see that. So we've got the videos. I'm sensing that the radio is something you can do by yourself in the background. And also the dictionary, I think that's an amazing idea that you would be working with a dictionary to sort of bring out the keywords that you want to know. So am I hearing that you'd like to do that by yourself, and then together we go through those keywords?
Yes, I can have it with me, so I can solve any issues or ideas that I can have. And also from you, like having this, like you can miss these ones, and you can also add these other ones, but these ones are the key ones. So excellent. That will be nice.
And I'm hearing that in our sessions, we would then get you into those conversations where you're using those keywords.
Exactly.
Fantastic. You also would like some exercises, worksheets, things like that. Now, obviously, this is about dialogues here. So how would you feel with that sort of worksheet with the dialogues?
Well, the dialogues, I think it's better to do it during lesson, and worksheets for me to practice, to master the vocabulary outside of the session.
Fantastic. So let me summarize. We have got one mechanical goal, which is about the fundamentals: to be, there is, there are, getting you solid with those. With that, we're going to be doing a general review, conversations, using it, questions and answers to get you solid. And with the mastery, we're going to be focusing into troubleshooting questions. And there we're going to brainstorm those questions, watch some video clips. You're going to listen to the radio, look at the dictionary. We're going to discuss keywords together, and we're going to get you into those conversations using the keywords. And you'll work with worksheets and exercises that also you'll be bringing in and we'll be talking about.
Yeah.
How does all that sound?
Great. A lot of work, a lot of things to do, but that's how it's done.
Fantastic. Betsy, I'm actually going to close the demo there. Just to let everybody know, we would still be continuing with a few things to tidy up that first session, to then round it off and then get the client on the client's way. But for the reason of the demo, we're just going to stop it there because I do want to move into other demos as well. Betsy, how are you feeling after that?
Great. I feel good. It's good to be in the other side of, like, for so long I haven't taken lessons and never private lessons. So it's good to be on the other side and feel the other way. And great. I think it helps me understand how the coaching is working. And I'm excited. But I do have a question. What happens, like, I'm thinking that maybe I'm giving all these ideas because I have learned other languages by myself a little bit, and I have all this idea. But what happens when if the first language that someone is learning and they all just don't know what to do, and they want you to, no, tell me what is that I need to do? What happened in that context?
We get a lot of learners like that, a lot of learners who are used to having teachers, and they say, you're the teacher, you tell me. And that's where we explain a little bit that the philosophy of coaching is about learner autonomy. And one of the major points is that, you know, when the clients choose, it's ownership as well. And it's not only ownership, it's really about that sort of state of mind that I'm not being told what to do. If somebody really doesn't know, then we give them a menu. And it's very important that there is a menu so that they can choose. Just as I did. I mean, you were sort of with the grammar, not really sure. So I gave you a menu of options. And then I asked you to choose. And that's what we would do, whether it's with the areas of the goal or whether it's with the actions, you know, the activities. It is about bringing out that ownership and learner autonomy all the time in coaching. Definitely. And I hear so many teachers say, we set the goals, we already do that, but it's the teacher doing it. And this is the major difference, that it must come from the learners. How do we do that when we are the experts? That's the question. And this is where, as a skilled coach, we have to understand how to turn it around. Betsy, does that help a little bit?
Yes, it helps. I think the experience and being like doing it and experience with your coaches, it's going to help you. Yeah. And also, can this done on a group basis? Like, can we coach in group? Okay.
Absolutely, we can. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And maybe to share with everybody, the biggest group that I've ever coached was a group of 100 Italian lawyers.
Wow.
And believe me, many of them kept coming up to me and saying, this is totally different. We've never done something like this before, because they were expecting to be lectured. And I don't lecture, I coach, even in a group of 10, 50, 100, whatever. Okay. And I think it's the style, the coaching style is about totally changing the way that we communicate, whether it's with 1 or 1,000.
Great. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Betsy. Thank you so much. In bocca al lupo in Italia. Rabab.
Grazie, grazie.
Rabab.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
You hear me? Hi. It's nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you too.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm an English teacher, but I met some problems with my student. sometimes I pay lots of effort in order to make them speak English, but sometimes I fail. I'm teaching adults. I think some of them are very motivated. They have high motivation, but sometimes they have some obstacles that prevent them from speaking English. And I'm looking for some strategies or techniques, or maybe I'm thinking of helping them to recognize their metacognitive skills. Maybe I can help them if I don't know, but I need some tips in order to help me doing this.
Right.
I think, okay, they need so much time. I have to be patient. I know that I have to be patient with them, but sometimes I support them with lots of receptive skills such as reading and listening comprehension. But sometimes the product is not that. I'm not happy with their performance. I don't know why, but I'm not happy with their performance.
Okay, so may I ask you a few questions?
Yep, sure.
These adults, are they in a group?
Yeah.
Or face-to-face, one-to-one?
No, they are in a group.
In a group. And is
in a class, yeah.
Is it one particular group?
Yeah, one particular group, yeah.
Right. May I ask a little bit their background? Are they business people, workers?
Yeah, they are workers. Some of them they study higher studies, but in different fields. It's not English.
Mm-hmm. They're busy people.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And you mentioned some of them are motivated, some of them aren't. So are they forced by their jobs to do the work?
No.
No?
No.
But are they forced to learn the language?
Yeah. See, some of them, okay, because they need, okay, to learn English in order to finish their high studies. But for others, no, they come by themselves, okay. I think they have intrinsic motivation in order to learn English.
Right. Okay. Rabab, can we just would you role play one of them with me?
Pardon?
Would you role play one of your group members with me?
Role play?
Yes. Would you play the part of one of them, and I demonstrate with you the conversation I would have with them?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So, Rabab, may I just ask you, what is the reason that you need English?
What's the reason for what? Please, I can't hear you properly.
What is the reason that you need English?
Generally for communication.
Okay. And where is it that you need it?
Pardon?
Where do you need this communication in English?
Well, okay, nowadays, because people, okay, keeping chatting online with foreign people, I think that they need English. English is international language nowadays, so everyone needs English.
Right. And Rabab, what I'm asking is that you are one of your clients.
Pardon?
So what I'm asking is that you are acting the part of one of your clients in this conversation.
No.
I don't think you can hear me properly. Let me just say it again. I would like you to act as one of the clients that comes to you in this group.
Okay, yeah. So you want me to have a conversation to be involved in the conversation with my student? Is that what?
No.
No?
I think the connection isn't so good. I'm trying to demonstrate how I would have a conversation with one of your learners.
Okay, yes. Okay, but not at the moment. I think it's difficult now. Do you want me to keep? Do you want me to keep you in contact with one of my students?
No.
No.
Okay. No. I'm going to totally let me demonstrate this with somebody else, Rabab. Daniela,
Okay.
¿me puoi aiutare un attimo, Daniela? Faresti tu la persona che non vuole venire?
Io?
Sì.
Okay.
Sì, grazie. Okay, so Rabab, this is one of your learners, okay? So Daniela, may I ask you, what's the reason that you need English?
Well, you know, I work with foreign customers. I'm an engineer, and I need to give technical replies.
Right, right. And can I just check with you, is this something that comes from the company that you must do, or is it something that you need and want to do?
Well, both. I need it. I don't have so much time, and the company wants that I do this course with you. So, but I don't have so much time. So if I can, it's a bit difficult for me.
Right. Yes. So first, I want to say I'm sorry to hear that. And also, I'm sorry to hear that in some ways you're being forced by the company, that it's not something that you would come naturally to do. So
no, not now, not in this period.
Right. Okay. And I'm also hearing that you're extremely busy. So in a minute, may we troubleshoot how we can sort of look at that and see how language learning could fit in your life being so busy.
If you have the solution.
Okay, so we'll come to that in a minute. Now, firstly, you said the company sent you, but you do also need it for work. Can I just ask you, just imagine that you had perfect English at work. How would that change the dynamic of everything that you're doing?
First of all, with telephone calls, because sometimes it is difficult to speak with customers. And also, I'm not traveling a lot because of the language. So maybe I can go abroad more often to customers. And yes, this can be interesting to go abroad for my job.
So what would it bring you going abroad and getting more customers and dealing with more telephone calls?
You know, going abroad means more money, because when you go abroad, you get paid more by the company. And now this is not so possible for me.
Right. So I'm hearing you'd actually get more wage or more salary if you go abroad.
Yeah.
Right. How would you feel with that?
Yeah, better, because now I feel a bit different from my colleagues. So it means a lot. Not only the money, but to be the same as my colleagues.
Okay. So I'm hearing it would bring you into an equal status with the others. It would bring you more clients. It would bring you more money. Can we use that as this sort of reason, background, drive to get you focused into the language learning?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, fantastic. So we've kind of got a motivation, if you like, in the background. Now, how about we troubleshoot this question that you're really, really busy?
Yes.
So I'm hearing that learning a language is a little bit heavy for you because of everything that you've got to do. We are going to have our sessions once a week. Now, may I share with you that language learning, actually, we could divide it into two separate focus points. We've got the explicit learning, where we're really coming into focused, explicit learning, where you and I are going into the rules, the grammar, and we're getting you into that language that way, a lot of thinking, if you like. But then, like children, there's a different way to learn a language, which is the implicit. And if you were to go to an immersion setting, if you were to go to London to live, you would come into that implicit learning environment, because your brain would be bombarded with that language. So my question to you would be, if we are going to do the explicit together, when you're not with me, how could you bombard your brain in English?
Maybe watching something, because I think it's more relaxing than reading. I read so much during the day, so it's boring for me, or I'm tired. So maybe watching something, but not too difficult. So otherwise I get worried.
Right. And may I share with you, actually, it's not necessary to go into that focused listening. You could also just be watching with that sort of relaxed, absorbing it in. You don't have to get every word. You might actually be doing something else at the same time.
Oh, for example, driving.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely. Or cooking something in the background, or whatever.
Or walking maybe.
Absolutely. It's really about getting the subconscious brain absorbing. And I think as adults, we often forget the power of our subconscious brain. It really is quite amazing just how much we're taking in. So how would you feel if we give it a try, that, we're going to be working very hard together when we're together, and then during the week that we take off this burden and heat of expecting you to do things, but just that you are trying to expose the brain whenever you can to the radio, to the TV, to films, whatever, listening in the background.
So it's not an effort. It's not tiring from
That's
what
right.
you say.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. How do you feel if we try that out?
Yeah, okay. It sounds relaxing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the idea, that the more that you become relaxed into this language journey, potentially the more that you're going to be learning. I think when we're very stressed, that's when, it's obviously we come into that frustration, the negative feelings, and that makes language learning a frustrating journey. And how long did you take to learn your native language, Daniela, as a child?
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe I started to speak. Do you mean this? When I was 2 or 3, and writing when I was 6. I liked reading a lot.
Right. So I'm hearing your native language. It really took you between 3 and 6 years to fully read and write your native language.
Yeah.
And that's through implicit learning only. Now, as an adult, we can do both, explicit and implicit. And we have learners who are really learning in 1 year, 2 years, when there is both. How do you feel about that?
Sounds interesting, because I have so little time. So if we can do it in a shorter time, it's great.
Fantastic. Well, over our sessions, we can look at how to integrate more and more language. Now, one final question, and this is an important question for Rabab. I've noticed in our sessions that when we're with the group, there are some sessions, and I'm going to get this into the group area and really ask everybody how safe you all feel to be able to talk in this group.
Okay.
This is Luminita speaking. May I say something?
Sorry, not sure who is speaking.
Luminita Tululu is speaking from Moldova. I was listening to the conversation. I really got into it. I love it so much.
Luminita, could I just finish the demo with Daniela?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to say how nice it looks. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. But I'll get you on in a minute. 1 second. Okay. So, Daniela, as a group, what can I do to help all of you to feel safer to be able to speak in this space?
don't ask me to say something in front of everybody.
Right.
Because I feel a bit different from the others. So, you know, I forget everything when you ask me a question.
Right. So how can I get all of you speaking in this group?
Maybe not in front of everybody, but in pairs, for example.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm hearing you'd like to have some sort of breakout moments where you're going away in partners, you're kind of speaking and exploring together, and then you come back in.
Yeah.
Okay, how about we try that then for a session, see how it works, and then we get everybody's feedback from it.
Okay, let's try.
Fantastic. And Daniela, I'm going to stop there, and thank you for being my model there. Okay, let me just bounce into Rabab. Rabab, I demonstrated there firstly, trying to find motivation if they've been sent by the company. Secondly, trying to find commitment when they're really busy. And thirdly, how to help, in a group. One of the major problems is that you've got so many group dynamics. You've got people frightened, embarrassed, frustrated, angry, different levels. And the question is how to get that group to come together as a team, to support each other, to help each other, and to feel safe in that space.
I actually, okay, when I start learning English, I was always anxious, especially when I speak in front of native speaker, because this requires more anxiety. I get more worried, more anxious because I speak to a native speaker. And I was afraid of the negative evaluation of them. Okay, I know that my student experienced this. Okay, because maybe they think, okay, of me, I'm evaluating them negatively, and I don't like this happen in my class. So I prefer to make a friendly atmosphere in my class in order to reduce their own anxiety. I try to encourage them. Keeping telling them that making mistake is part of learning. So don't worry about making mistake. Me as well, I still make terrible mistakes in English, but this is normal because it's a foreign language. And I learned English, okay? I learned English when I was adult. I wasn't a child, okay? And this is not, okay, learning is not like acquisition. Yeah,
Right.
I learned it inside the classes, okay? So I didn't acquire English from a native speaker. That's
May I just make a few observations?
Yep.
And this is for all of us here. Many times, and me included in the past, we try to make, as you said, a friendly atmosphere. Now, what I would maybe suggest doing is ask them, what's going to be a friendly atmosphere for you here? Because I can guess what it is, but what I think is a friendly atmosphere may not be a friendly atmosphere for you. So I would ask your group, ask your learners, everything that you've just said, Rabab, I would ask them, open it out, put it on the table, get them to tell you, get their feedback, each and every one of them. Because we're all different. We've all got different perspectives, different neural maps, different ways of wanting and doing things. And we have to find out and adjust to all of them. So that would be my first observation. Secondly, what I was hearing there is, yes, it's great to give them that encouragement and say, it's not about this, it's not about that. But what we're doing is we're actually being directive. I'm ordering you that this is the way that mistakes, it's not a bad thing, but I'm not actually, I'm not asking. I'm telling you to don't worry about mistakes. Again, how can we change that? And ask them, how do you feel about making mistakes? What's going to help you to feel better about making mistakes? And again, every single thing that we think the answers should be coming from them. And I think, Rabab, you'll totally change the dynamic of that group. And one of the other problems is that we're all dealing with children, teenagers, adults, and nobody likes to be told what to do. And if you've got business adults, even less. So the more that we can go into, may I ask you, how about what you think, can I ask you, the more you're going to change the dynamic of that group. Rabab, does that help a little bit?
Yes, that helps so much. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. That's so helpful.
And let me know, write to me and let me know how you get on with that group.
Now, I'm good now.
Yes. But in the future, in a few weeks, you can write to me and tell me if there's been any change in the dynamic of that group.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay, super.
Thank you very much.
Super. And Jasmine, yes, I just saw your message. You want to jump on, Jasmine? And then we'll go to Luminita. Jasmine.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hello. Do you hear me well?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, frankly speaking, it's been a pleasure just to listen to all of you. And as I am a kind of a novice teacher, 30 years of experience is not enough probably, because we continue to learn as long as we live. This is a part of our life. And what I would like to mention is that apart from what you have been saying about the fact that we experience frustration and anxiety while speaking in front of an audience, this is true. I have read something about exposing ourselves in front of the audience, and it took a lot of time to me, though I really don't lack self-confidence. I quite easily find the eye contact and let's say the so-called relationship with the audience. Public speaking can be kind of a useful tool in this situation, because when you place, as someone has mentioned, if you place yourself in the presenter's shoes, things start to change drastically. That's why it's quite a difficult experience to face. But if you have a goal, if you are planning to achieve the goal you have in front of you, I think things may smoothly go better. This is from my personal perspective, and I think it might be helpful for others. Why I have started to attend those webinars with coaching. Well, in my opinion, the teacher is, or let's say, includes all those elements of tutoring, coaching, advisors, counseling, everything that is connected to teaching. And when I could get some more, or let's say, additional information on how to correctly coach someone, that would probably be a nicer job, an additional maybe one for me. I don't have any clients so far. I'm a teacher, I'm a school teacher, I'm in let's say, English as a foreign language teacher. And we've had the possibility to encounter different kinds of character traits of our students. And this, in a way, models or shape us, the way we speak to them, the way we ask them how to behave. In a way, we learn from them and they learn from us.
Yes, absolutely. Jasmine, any questions?
Hi, thank you for that sharing. Is my audio good?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So regarding it's in connection with Ms. Rabab's question earlier situation. Now, our situation is different because I mostly teach Asian students, mostly Chinese, the big threes, Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, some Hong Kongers. And the dynamics in the class is that, like, from the series of webinars, I wanted to apply this questioning, like, may I? However, I'm also a bit hesitant, not exactly hesitant, but how do I, because this kind of teaching is a new method for them. Like, for them, they were taught that teachers were like the source of all information and you are just there to follow everything. Now, if you go against that, they might think something's wrong with my teacher. Why is she asking a lot of questions? Another one, and this is an unfortunate situation for us Filipino teachers. I think there are some Filipino co-teachers here. There is this, how do I term that without, okay, I'll just say it out loud. If I'm wrong with my words, please correct me, my co-Filipino teachers there. um Honestly, these other Asian countries look down to us as their teachers because they don't think of us as native speakers. They think we just that's also why we get relatively lower rates compared because of other factors. We already know that. So that's the thing, and because of that image of us that they have, like, oh, these are Filipino teachers, so, and added to that, if I keep asking them questions about how to proceed, this might lead them to thinking, Jasmine doesn't know what she's doing. She's asking me all of this. And even if I do explain it to them, this would be a really new concept for them, especially if I apply it to children. Their parents are listening and they would be wondering what is going on. So I have that scenario on my mind, if you might
Yes.
help clarify with that.
Yes, Jasmine, thank you so much. And yes, you're right. This is a challenge. And like all pioneers in life, which you are over there in that area of the world, obviously there are certain things that we have to navigate. Now, just to share with all of you, we do actually have one of our neurolanguage coaches over in Taiwan in a school with kids, and she is doing her master thesis on a study of the impact of neurolanguage coaching in the classroom with the kids. So that's something that I very much am looking forward to. Unfortunately, it's probably going to come out next January, February, and then we'll get the results of that and we'll be able to share it with the world. So for the moment, how do you navigate this? Well, as you said, in many parts of the world, there is this sort of status question with some teachers and non-natives and natives. And unfortunately, that's a battle in many areas of the world. So I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. Now, Sanela actually wrote something in the chat box earlier, and Sanela, thank you. Yes, being an innovator is difficult, but worth it. It is. Believe me, I know it because of the blood, sweat, and tears that I've gone through over the last 10 years. One of the major things and one of the major problems with the educational system at the moment is the teacher is the source of the information, and the teacher remains the source of the information. And this is what we have to break. We are the source of information, but we have to make sure that they are learning it. And this is where we are not doing it enough. Now, from the neuroscience, we know the person doing it learns it. So if I'm constantly doing it for my learner, I'm learning it, I'm reinforcing it, they're not. And if I want them to learn faster and more effectively, I need to get them doing it. So, Jasmine, I would actually share with them exactly what you're doing. So I would share with them, I am a coach. I'm coming into a coaching approach, which is slightly different to what you've ever had before. And I would ask them, how open are you to try this with me? And let's experiment, because this is about learner autonomy. It's about getting you learning it more effectively and more efficiently. And it's about me finding out how to get this information across to you effectively, without giving directives, without telling you what to do, and getting you more engaged, getting you doing it. Now, there's going to be times, and especially if you've got kiddies, Jasmine, depending on their age, there's going to be times when you have to be directive, but there's going to be times when you could be permissive, like, how about we do this? What do you think if we do that? What could we do here? Let's brainstorm as a group. How do you want to do this? So then I think you're going to be looking for the light and the shade when to be directive, when to say, right, guys, this is what we're doing today, and when to start giving them those windows of autonomy with the coaching approach. And going into that compassionate coaching. So if you've got a kid who's not feeling good, I'm really sorry that you're not feeling okay with this. What do we need to do to help you feel better? And coming into those moments of troubleshooting. Okay, I'm hearing you've got a difficulty with this. What do we need to do to help you to move on? Jasmine, how does that sound?
That sounds really eye-opening. Although yes, although I already foresee myself doing that, but at the same time I have this hesitation still to fully apply it because I'm not sure what would be their reaction. So maybe I'll experiment on with my regular students first before I apply it to any student that would come my way. And I'll just love to thank you also because the first session, I think that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, yes. We had the first one for kids, and my son is a stutterer. He speaks English. Unfortunately, he doesn't speak our local language. And now I'm trying, I like, so because of that one, he speaks English, and because I've been speaking English since he was in my tummy. And second, he stutters. So he's having a hard time dealing with other kids. So once I told him, like, you stutter, it doesn't mean that you're not smart. It's just that I told him in a simple way, like, it's like your brain has a lot of things and you need to give space, like time for your brain and your mouth to work together. And I think for about a week I've been doing that. Like when he stutters, I would ask him, calm down, think of what you say, and then say it slowly to me. And also he starts playing with other kids too, because he's more confident that he can actually speak. And there's nothing wrong with him. It's just that his brain and his mouth are not working together yet. So yeah, really thank you so much for that. Although, like, I haven't brought him back to his um pedia to ask that, but thank you so much for that sharing. I experimented with my son and it's working.
Fantastic. How old is he, Jasmine?
Turning 5, and we are also trying to introduce the local language because he'll be going to school, and I don't know how. Maybe I can apply Neurolanguage too on how to teach him our local language as well.
Fantastic. Yes. And the most important thing, and just to share, and Rob, I promise I'll bring you on in a minute. One of the most important things is that at such a tender age, that they are not given that message that there's something wrong. No. Really the message that, okay, what do we need to do to help you? And how can we get you calm so that you can communicate slowly, calmly, and as you say, he's getting more confident.
And that's he would even tell me, like, he didn't used to say this, like when he's talking, Mama, I want, wait, Mama, I'm thinking. And I was surprised because now before he would just get frustrated and just point at what he wants me, like if he wants to play or he wants to read something. But now even when we are reading together, he would say, wait, Mama. And sometimes he would just cover my mouth, like, just wait, Mama. Wait for me. And that works. He does that. He didn't do that before, so that's a good thing.
Fantastic, Jasmine. I love it. Thank you for that. Rob, may I ask you to jump on? In the Caribbean?
Yes. No, just spending the day at the beach with my vermouth. Thank you. No, I just wanted to say I noticed this when I moved to Eastern Europe. that going east, there's a lot of people that really have resistance to coaching because they're expecting a teacher. And usually the first thing that I say to them is, look, you've been studying for years. It didn't work. It's time to try something different. And you need to focus on what the results are and not the methodology that's being used. Because in most cases, the methodology didn't serve them to begin with. That's why they're here. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And this is exactly the world that we live in today. It is about who is my learner and how can I adapt to my learner's brain, instead of thinking my learner has to adapt to me, and if they don't, there's something wrong with them. That's where we have to move into a totally different direction. So Rob, thank you for that. Yes. And every brain is different. Everybody has a different perspective of learning. Everybody has different thinking time. And if I'm a teacher who is stressing and jumping on and finishing off sentences, what I'm doing is I'm making my learner go into a shell that says, oh my God, I can't do this, I'm stupid, I can't, and I'm not fast enough. And that's where we have to, the calmer we get, the calmer they will get. And in some ways, Jasmine, just jumping on what you were saying before as well, and Rob as well, I always say that as a coach, it's almost like we have to sit in the shoes of the coach and just be. We don't need to prove that we're an expert. You are an expert. You don't need to prove it by constantly explaining and doing. And this is where we've always felt the need to demonstrate how good we are. This is not about how good we are. This is about how good they are at what we're trying to give them as knowledge. That's the measuring stick. How much do they know? How much can they do? That's when we'll get the real feedback. Miss Shanique, would you like to jump on?
Hi. Well, hi.
Hi.
It's afternoon here. I'm from Belize.
Welcome.
I deal with kids. They are 6 and 7 years old. But there are some that, well, it's different here. We speak Spanish, English, Creole. And it's very interesting for your session. And there are some that doesn't even speak the English and only Spanish. And then like at the end of the year, it's like kind of hard because you can't grade them as you wish to. You'd have to develop most of the items in Spanish. And since this is like coaching, it would be good to like find some different strategies to deal with these different language speaking. The kids, they're small. So some different strategies would be nice.
Right. I think I need a little bit more clarification here. So you've got some kids who are trilingual?
We have like out here we speak 3 different languages. It's accepted, but the most they recommend the English. And I have students who speak only the Spanish. So they don't speak the other 2, but like their only home base is Spanish.
Right. So when you say you have to evaluate them, what are you evaluating them in?
It depends on what we would plan the like evaluation sheet. But it's like for mostly in the language section, they would deal with them. So you know that we can comprehend when we're teaching, or they could understand what you're saying. Most of the time I would go Spanish, English, I would translate to what I know, because I'm not perfect in Spanish, but then I would translate to that. Then I see they get it, but then it's like we would have to we would usually create an evaluation sheet just for the Spanish speaking ones, and then we would go like speaking teaching Spanish and English for the child.
Right. So I'm not, honestly, I'm not clear what it is you're wanting to evaluate, whether it's the English language, the Spanish language, all of the language, whether it's how
The
they
English language, the Spanish language. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what you're looking for is for learning tips,
Mm-hmm.
to get them to the same level with the English and the Spanish,
To the English one.
to get them more into English.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. I would have to understand, what type of sessions you're doing with the kids through the year in English, in Spanish. I would need a lot more information here. And I think I'm sensing that in 5 minutes, we're not going to be able to decipher this. Kids at the age of 6 or 7, they're just starting to develop at the age of 7 onwards, this prefrontal cortex, the rational, logical, analytical thinking. So under the age of 7, it's definitely going to be learning by doing, learning by experiencing, learning by copying, that real parroting, following what they're hearing and absorbing the language. That's how we learn under the age of 7. After the age of 7, we can start bringing in associations and connections. So I would say with this group that's sort of 6 and 7, I would be looking at how you can introduce like a mix of learning by doing and learning through association. And maybe seeing how they can springboard more with the English and the Spanish. Because English and Spanish, they have so many connections and so much that you can scaffold from, and seeing how you can get them into both the languages very quickly through those associations. That would be my first tip. Shanique, does that help a little bit?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and with pleasure. If you want to send me an email with a little bit more info, then we could probably have a separate call, and I could find out a little bit more. Now, everybody, it's actually 10 o'clock, and I hadn't realized it's past 10 o'clock. So we've been rolling for over an hour and a half. Are there any more questions before we close?
Okay, so thank you.
Ismail, good evening.
Good evening as well. Really, I do appreciate for you great efforts, and for more interactive then. My question really to us as Somalis, I teach for adults, especially for universities, and sometimes the classes are just large classes, maybe sometimes more than 100 students, which may be a little bit difficult, to divide groups, or that you didn't have the time or the allocation or the stuff. So, and at the same time, you feel sometimes anxious that because some students may not get the things well, or maybe they are a little bit dyslexic. This is also a case which I have seen some of them. Even writing is a challenge as well. Let alone to speak, they cannot even write properly, and they're still at university. So actually, what can I do to help them?
I think it is about, in many respects, helping them to break the language down. A lot of the times people come into language learning and it's so much to learn. And I think the first step would be to open that group. Ismail, I'm just going to mute the microphone. Sorry, there's a lot of interference there, so just muting the microphone. A lot of our students really go into panic because there's so much. And if you're in a group of 100, whoa, they're going to be in panic, turmoil, a lot of nerves, etc. So I would talk to them about how to break the language down, how to bring in focused grammar areas, focused grammar topics, and then how to sort of understand what's the communicative language that they need. Is it giving opinions? Is it explaining things? what type of phrases and how can they associate that with their native language? What would they say in their native language in this situation? Okay, how do we do that in English? So what you need to do is help them to bring in the parallels from their life into what they're learning. And a lot of the time, and this happened to me when I was learning French as a child and as a teenager, I always felt that French was out there, that it was so difficult, it was something not connected to me, until I got a French girlfriend. And then we had to speak in French. And speaking literally about everyday things. So how could you get your learners to talk about their everyday things in English? And opening that door for them to understand that, languages are exactly the same conversations all over the world. We all go shopping. We all put petrol in the car. We all maybe go to the bank. We all have a conversation with our friends. We all go for a coffee or whatever. And making it come alive in that respect is also going to help them to connect more in the language. Now, Ismail, when you're coming into group sessions of 100 people, I would strongly suggest to see how you get them into working groups. And if you're doing a plenary, I used to lecture at the University of Verona, and I used to lecture legal English. And one of the things I used to do to really capture everybody in the room, I would walk around the room. And I would ask open questions. So we've spoken about open questions over the last week. I would still ask open questions to a group of 100 people. And at first, there's like an awkward silence. Everybody's paralyzed as if to say, who's going to answer that? But then suddenly somebody somewhere starts to answer. And then somebody else starts to answer. And then they all start to realize that you actually are opening that accessibility to them all, to be able to communicate with you, ask you questions when they need to. And that's what they need to know. They need to know that even though there's 100 other people in the room, you are accessible and that you're helping them to feel that trust and safety to ask anything that they need to ask. And I would also say that, questions are the best things for us to happen, because a question from a learner means that their brain is trying to understand. Doesn't matter what question is. It really doesn't matter. It means that that brain needs to understand something that they don't understand at that point. And the question then is, how can I help them to understand? Ismail, just getting you back onto the mic a minute. Is that okay?
Actually, really very fruitful. What about if some of them really has the dyslexic? Can I really make them part of that class, or really more favorable just to give them special sessions as well?
I would, yes. I mean, it's a delicate topic. And I wonder if you could set up learning support groups for those who feel they need extra support. So you're not labeling, you're not saying there's learning difficulties or whatever, you're just offering support groups and trying to find out what do they need. Now, just to mention that there are more cases of dyslexia in languages where the alphabet does not connect with the sounds. For example, English and French. In those two languages, there's more dyslexia than in languages like Spanish, where the alphabet matches the sounds in the words. So Ismail, it could be also interesting for you to say, it's normal to have difficulties with English because of this mismatch of sounds and alphabet. And can I just give all of you a little bit of a sneaky preview? On the 20th of July, and Gary's with me in the background, I think, somewhere. On the 20th of July, we are going to be here with Luca. Luca was with me a couple of weeks ago, and Luca is the specialist with learning difficulties. And he's going to do a special webinar to help us. How can we recognize learning difficulties? And he's going to take all of us through it, even me. For me, it's going to be also an amazing experience to be with him. So put it in your diaries, everybody, 20th of July, Wednesday evening, just like we're doing now. And we'll be doing a few more webinars. I know somebody asked me as well over the last weeks if we can do a webinar on helping teachers to kind of help ourselves preserve our energy and make sure we are healthy, because obviously you are important to have the strength and the energy to be able to do what you do. So how can we look after ourselves? So that will be another webinar that we come into. And I'm sensing, just let me check in, everybody, how many of you would like another demo session? Because, you know, tonight we've had time for only 2. And there's still other things that we can demo. So Ina, Betsy, I'm seeing yes. Anybody else? Give me a quick sign with a heart or something if you want to see more demos. And I'm just bringing my slides back in there. Yay, we've got some hearts coming up. Fantastic. So I'm just going to move into closing. You know, I will do a demo on the Neuro Heart. I will give you a demonstration of how to use what we do with chemistry. So if any of you want to have that experience of going through a demonstration of how to bring chemistry into a session, obviously it's not for language teachers, it's for any teacher, but it will be following the same principles. And, you know, I do think that it's about that quiet confidence. And Yasmin, this is a little bit backing up what you were saying. We don't have to demonstrate anything. You are the experts already. And having that quiet confidence, and coaching does in many ways bring that to us as we know how to navigate the conversations, how to go into silence, and really shift it into a learner-centric process. And it's not about us. So it's not about our egos and how we feel and how good we feel. No, it's really about that selflessness of how do they feel? How much have they learned? How much can they do without me? That's what we want. Now, just to say, Neurolanguage Coaching, obviously, we do many courses. And we are one of the only courses worldwide with the ICF accreditation and the certification. I need to change this slide because we're coming up to 1,200 Neurolanguage coaches worldwide. And we do, after people have become a Neurolanguage coach, and there are many Neurolanguage coaches in the audience. So hi, everybody. Great to see you, and thank you for being here. Always grateful for your support. I can see some of you waving. Thank you, thank you. Definitely, we try to support all of you, and we are going to be, this year, we're going to be bringing a lot of focus into bringing Neurolanguage coaching into companies, into schools, into different places, and bringing work to the Neurolanguage coaches as more and more companies start to ask us for Neurolanguage coaches. So that's something that we're developing a lot at the moment. There is the community, and I have to say, what an amazing community, very like-minded. You know, I know that all of you who are here, and I can imagine that the 730 of you who have signed up are absolutely with the same passion, drive, and vision of changing this world. And I do think this is what we all want from the bottom of our hearts. We want a new world. We want the generations that are coming up behind us to have a much, I'm going to say, safer environment to live in, much more secure environment. We live in uncertain times at the moment. We really do. And I do want to say as well at this point, all of us desire nothing more than to see this war in Ukraine stopping, and that the people in Ukraine are, embraced by all of us because of what they're going through at the moment. So the vision that we have is to change education, but if the systems aren't changing, we are the ones that have to change first. We are the transformers who are going to be transforming everything. All of you in your countries are going to be the pioneers. You are the pioneers. Jasmine, you're the pioneer over there, and it's not an easy position to be in. It's uncomfortable. But it's the only way that we're going to bring in change. So with pleasure, if any of you would like information, do connect with us. We're a small team, but we try to do as much as we can.